Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Fanatics video on the channel. It is Thursday. It is time to go through some captains ahead of round 8. So last week, I don't think we were too bad actually. I ended up going a captain that wasn't even in my top 10. So shout out to Mitch and the Ball Boys, who was first overall actually out of everyone last week. He had Bailey Smith in his top 10, and I didn't love a couple of my options. I didn't love the Rosie. It was either Rosie or Bailey Smith in my own team. Ended up going for Bailey Smith because I thought the Rosie tag. I ended up bumping Rosie down. So if you stayed on my Twitter, I'll post it just after Port game, unfortunately. But I did bump him down just with that tag news coming through before the game. But yeah, last week was good though. Still had Whitfield, 117, Gawn 138, Dawson 100. Obviously, it should have been a lot bigger. Rosie still scored a 108, right? And then Dacos 120. So still, if you pick one of those 5 last week, you'd be pretty happy. A lot of people obviously had Gawn or Dacos as a VC, so you'd be pretty happy with those from last week. But let's get into the captains for round 8. So coming in at number 1, up very, very high again, like he was last week. Max Gawn is coming in at number 1. So he's in very, very good form at the moment. He's got just getting up his last 3 games just on my phone here while I'm recording. So he went 138 last week, 125, then a 118. So he's in really good form at the moment. Got West Coast this week over at Optus. So the matchup on paper is really good, right? The only thing that slightly has me concerned is his recent history against Eagles isn't good. He hasn't turned up in his last 4 against them. So he's gone 71, 86, 87, and 83 in his last 4. Obviously, the 71 was when he was subbed out early with an injury, I believe. I don't know exactly what it was. But even still, this year, West Coast are the number 1 matchup for Rucks so far. They're giving up, second behind GWS, who obviously Briggs there's something not right with him at the moment. But yeah, West Coast won the only 2 teams averaging over 100 points a game against them. So Gawn's got a great matchup. I expect him to go well once again and break that ton drought against West Coast and put up a good score, which is what I think he'll be able to do on Saturday night. Coming in at number 2, Rucks continuing. So Rucks are back. Rucks are back amongst the top couple of captain options for me. And Tristan Cherry, the big X, is at number 2. Coming up against Goldie tonight. So should be a good matchup for him there. Last couple has been looking back to the Tristan Cherry that we know and love. So he's got a 116 against Carlton with a lot of tackles, not many disposals. Last week's got a 122 against Port, one of the tougher matchups for Rucks, with touches but not tackles. So if he can put it all together tonight, he should be good. Scored 98 against Goldie last year when they matched up against each other. But I think another year older for Goldie. Cherry is back in some form. I expect him to go pretty well. So he is my number 2. Another guy that's playing tonight that's coming in at number 3 for me is Harry Sheasel. So good matchup here against Essendon. Last 2 against them, 119 and 110. Hasn't gone below 90 yet this year, and he's back at half-back if last week's any indication. Scored 95 against Port in a tough matchup, but in a better matchup like tonight, I expect him to go really well. So he's my number 3, and a couple of high Kangaroos here for tonight's game. Coming in at number 4 is Bailey Smith up against Collingwood at the G. So he, again, has been one of the form players of the competition this year, averaging 113.8. 126, 112, 127, 102, 84 against Hawthorn, then a 132 against Carlton last week. Really good, got those tackles. I think Collingwood will be another decent matchup for him, and I think he will be another really good option for us to look at in terms of captaincy. And number 5, I was tossing up between if I put him at 4 or 5. I've gone for Jordan Dawson at 5, and I've gone Bailey Smith just ahead of him. I'm tossing up my own team because obviously people can see that I've obviously got Cherry, and if I bring in Sheasel or not, I'll have to go into a Smith or Dawson. I'm tossing up whether I go Smith or Dawson at the moment. So John Dawson's at 5, probably just with the little bit of that tag threat, maybe from a George Hewitt. So Matt Crouch is out, so I expect his role to be full CBAs and fine, right? Bailey Smith last week went well, scored a 132. So that obviously is promising for Dawson's prospects this week. Played Carlton last year and only scored a 60. Was tagged a bit by Hewitt and then went forward, but the Crows did win that game in the end. Before that, 133, 104, 128 were his last 3 against Carlton. So good recent history against him with a couple of good scores there. Back at home, where Dawson obviously loves playing, I expect him to go well once again. I just didn't have him ahead of Bailey Smith. Just, I guess, with Dawson Thorne's been fine, right? Only had the 2 scores below 100 this year. Smith obviously just had the 1. I just think the Collin matchup's just slightly better for Smith than the Carlton matchup is for Dawson. But I'm tossing up whether I go one or the other. So obviously I'll keep people updated if I update my order or anything like that. But at the moment, Bailey Smith is just ahead and Dawson's 5. But I still like both as good captain options this week. Coming in number 6 is Nick Dacos. Obviously he's got to be definitely in the top 10. Just outside the top 5. Geelong's normally a good matchup. But that Geelong have got to put someone like a Tom Atkins or a Mark O'Connor or even Ocean Mullen or someone like that. Someone will have to go to Nick Dacos this game. But he's just showing how good he is. Doesn't matter if he gets tagged or not. Obviously, 4 of his last 5 have been over 120. 3 of those have been over 130. He's just in very, very good form. Form player of the competition at the moment. Last 2 against Geelong, 85 and 114. Had the 85 with 32 disposals. So, be interesting to see if he can continue that there. I'm just having a look at mids against Geelong. So, Geelong is, funny enough, a bottom 6 matchup for mids, which is interesting. But... Sorry, hang on. No, sorry. They're a top 6 matchup. Sorry, I had it the wrong way around. Top 6 matchup for mids. 103 average against them for mids. And I should have said as well, Carlton, yeah, it's sort of towards the bottom for Dawson. And then Collingwood is just behind Geelong in terms of like it's a sort of middle of range matchup for mids there. So, and then for Shees, I probably should mention as well, Essendon's the 4th best matchup for mids. And then for defenders, they are... they're sort of bottom, sort of 8, 9. So they're sort of middle range in terms of defenders against them there. So, yeah, I think but Shees will still go well regardless. But just thought I'd give you that stat there for you guys there. Number 7, I've got Zach Merritt. So his history against North Melbourne is it's quite interesting. So his last 4 games against them. So 78 and a 90. Before that, though, 155 and 172. Obviously, had an amazing history against them. Last couple of games, he's been quiet against them. I do think Will Phillips will go to him this game. I don't think Merritt's going to put up a 140 or anything like that, but I think he'd be solid. So I've still got him in my top 10. He's still a decent VC shout. I do prefer Cherry or Sheasel, but Zach Merritt tonight, I think, is still a good option to go as a VC there. And obviously, North Melbourne aren't as easy for mids as what they were, but they are still the 7th best matchup for mids at the moment. So using all these stats from the Mirrors Magic website as well. So yeah, so Merritt I don't mind as a VC shout tonight. Andrew Brayshaw's at number 8. So I've just got him down the list a tiny bit. I'm slightly worried about the Windhager tag. I've probably gone a little bit low. I think because I'm more worried about the Windhager tag than the Phillips tag. That's the only reason Brayshaw's bumped down from maybe. He probably, if I knew he wasn't going to get tagged, he'd be a top 5 option. He would for sure. But just with that slight risk, his history against St Kilda: 94, 114, 144, 181, and a 103. So one of Andrew Brayshaw's favourite teams to score against. So in his career, averaging 107.2 from 9 games. And, yeah, Hawthorn he averages a little bit more against. But, yeah, St Kilda, one of his favourites to score against. I just worry that with how well he's been playing, that they maybe go to him instead of a Sarong this time. But if tomorrow night I find out that they're not going to be doing that, he'll bump out maybe a Dawson or a Smith in the top 5 and probably go in the top 5 if Ross comes out and says they're going to be taking a Sarong or something. But for the moment, he's number 8. Yeah, if you don't have any of the North guys tonight, I don't mind him as a V. I actually really like him as a VC. Because you can have the punt if he's tagged or not. But, yeah, I'm just worried that he might get some attention. John Newcombe is at number 9, 121 and 99 against Richmond in his last 2. Richmond's a great matchup, right? So they're one of the best matchups going around, obviously, for midfielders. So they are the best matchup. They're averaging 111 for mids and giving up heaps of points. St Kilda obviously closing in that gap. Obviously very easy for the last couple of weeks. Obviously, that's why I like Brayshaw a little bit still if he doesn't get tagged. But, yeah, Richmond matchup for Newcombe's good. Just have him down the list just because I said this last week with the West Coast matchup. He's the sort of player that doesn't really fill his boots when it comes to these easy matchups. It'll be other guys that'll get that bump. But Newcombe I could still see going well. And he's got the ability to go 140, right? But I still don't know if I haven't seen enough of a sample size yet for him against these easier matchups to say, yep, he's going to go 120, 130. He's a great captain option. If you've got him, you're still really liking the matchup. And if you've got him, he might be a solid captain option if one of your other options fails a VC. But yeah, he's down the list just because I'm not sold that he can that he's got, I guess, the thirst to go big against these easier matches. But I still like him as an option. And Ron Marshall rounding out my top 10. So is he even? Did I go past him here? Is he on the list somewhere? Yeah, he's down the list here. Got him in the top 10. So he scored a 171 against Freo last year, then a 72 the year before. The only reason he's not higher is because I haven't seen enough. I've only seen one game. He's obviously had a poor 3-week stretch for that. I want to see more. If he can have another big game this week, I dare say captains moving forward, he's going to be certainly in amongst that top 5 moving forward, but I want to see it. Darcy is a good matchup. Obviously, Darcy went back to full fitness, and Jackson might even play as well. He did score the 170 against just Luke Jackson last year, so that's another sort of thing to note there. Just wanting to see if he can back up his good performance against Oscar McInerney last week, but he does make it in the top 10 and sneaks in there. I also like Dunkley, Zorko, and Petrarca, so they're just outside, so we'll go through them slowly here. So Whitfield I don't have, just worried about the James Jordan tag. I do expect that to go to Whitfield this week, so that's why he isn't in my top 10. Dane Zorko, good matchup against Gold Coast. I just didn't have it there because I think this will be quite a hotly contested game, so I don't know if he's going to get as much of that outside ball as he normally does, and I think he went 180 against Gold Coast last year when they had all those injuries. But Zorko, not a bad shout, but I prefer him as a VC, not a captain in the last game. Butters against the Dogs, I don't mind him. He's another one that's just outside and in the mix. Just don't like Ballarat. That's as simple as that. Don't like Ballarat. Dogs have been a little bit more restrictive of late for midfielders as well. So they're sort of in the sort of middle range, but closer to the bottom for mids. So that's the only reason that he is not in my top 10, but I still like him as an option outside. George Hewitt, probably disrespected, to be honest. Only played a ton up in every game. Crows, Adelaide Overload is just a tougher matchup, so he's not in there, but he's been getting it done, and again, probably disrespected me not putting him in the top 10. Chris Petrarca, I like him. So from what I heard, apparently rumours going around that Clayton Oliver might be missing, and if he does miss, that could open up more opportunities for Petrarca in the midfield against West Coast. Probably unlucky to miss the top 10. As I said, he's just outside. Probably just the ceiling hasn't been there. He's got 3 tons in a row, but nothing over 115. So, well, his high score is 114, which is last week. So we'll see if he can go bigger this week against West Coast, which I think he definitely can. But, yeah, he's just outside my top 10 because of the lack of ceiling. Josh Dunkley, as I said, just outside as well. Hotly contested games, so I think he can get these tackles. Maybe not as many of those outside marks. I think he can go well. Not sure if he's going to go the 120 well, that would bump him well inside the top 10 and sort of up there. But if you've got him, I think he's not a bad shout as the last game as a backup captain because he's very, very consistent. Only the 2 scores below 100, and it's a 97 and 98. So the Bont, I expect Willem Drew to go to him, and it's obviously at Ballarat. Don't love that, and the matchup against Port is tough, and the tag, so he's not in the top 10 this week. Nasiah, just don't know the role, depending on what role he plays. I think Frere's a good matchup, just depends where he plays. Could cop attention as well if someone goes with him, but I don't know who would be able to stay with him, if I'm being honest. But yeah, just to know that consistent ceiling to be a captain option. Scored 130 last week, but that's his first score over 120 this year. De Koning, tough matchup against Riley O'Brien, so not looking at him this week. Darcy Cameron against Geelong could be okay, but I think there are better options. Rose against the Dogs, if it wasn't at Ballarat, I'd be highly considering him as a captain option, but yeah, just I don't love Ballarat, as I've said a few times. Lockie Neal, I expect to get some attention for, I don't know who it would be, but normally does. But Gold Coast, he could still score okay, but not one for me, I don't think, this week. And a few other guys here are a bit more speculative, but don't think I'd be going for any of those guys there. So they're my top 5. My plans this week, so I'm going Tristan Sherry VC tonight. I thought about Sheasel, especially if I'm bringing him in, but I think I'll go Big X. I think the ceiling could be there for a big score against Goldie. And I'll be rolling into one of Bailey Smith or Jordan Dawson. Undecided yet. Currently got Bailey Smith as my same with my order, but I might go Jordan Dawson. I'll be at that game, so maybe a bit more incentive for me to go him. But hopefully the Big X just gets it done, and I don't need to worry about worrying about a captain or whatever. But Dawson and Smith are both good options, I think. So I'll go one of those two. I think so. Yeah, let me know in the comments, guys, who you guys are going with your captain and vice captain this week. And if you've got any questions, put them in the comments below, and I'll try and get to them when I can. It's been very busy last couple of weeks for me, so apologies if I haven't got to your question if you've asked it. If you do want a guaranteed answer, though, do head over to patreon.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics to get a guaranteed answer there. Full team reviews for the full season. all like sort of like you can get them all there, and you get the exclusive Patreon Q&As every Wednesday night or Thursday during the day dropping for you. So I just dropped the Patreon Q&A for all the listeners there just earlier today. Yeah, if you'd like to go check that out, click the link in the description below if you'd like to become a Patreon and join in all the action. But if you are watching the video, make sure you do smash a like on the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're less than 250 away from 4K, so if you can help us reach that 4K goal of subscribers, please do. Daily content as well throughout the season there as well. So, yeah, make sure you get involved there. But, yeah, we'll be back tonight for a watch-along for the North Melbourne and Essendon games. So looking forward to that. If I've got Shees, it'll be on debut. If I don't, it'll be a nervous watch. Watching Shees will rack up probably when I don't have him. But, yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys either tonight, the watch-along, or tomorrow for our pre-lockout chat, as we always do, 6 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Perth time. Good luck tonight, guys, and hopefully catch you in the watch-along. If not, catch you guys tomorrow for pre-lockout chat. Thanks, everyone. Catch you then. See ya.